Audio check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sound check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Test. 10, 9, 8. Okay, good.
Good morning. Thank you. All right, we got some response. All right, good morning. There we go. I'm Shannon Cleverly Thompson, currently interim chair for the EDD program and visiting professor. Sorry, I had to take my glasses off. They are fogging up. Visiting assistant professor for 8 years at our Fisher campus, and also a proud graduate of the EDD program in executive leadership. So all I can say is, wow, what a pleasure and gift it is to be with all of you for Cohort 5 hooding ceremony of the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. School of Education at St. John Fisher College. We are so lucky to have an extension site at Onondaga Community College so that we can share our program with even more people. So you made it. We made it through the pandemic, and I can't thank you enough for your patience in waiting so that we could do this in person. And although it's not ideal or maybe what we would like and everyone here that we want, we are here and we're able to recognize your accomplishments in person. So part of what today is to recognize your accomplishments and to participate in the celebration of your achievements. Your engagement with facts, opinions, and interpretation of leadership and research. This ceremony is a day to acknowledge your unwavering commitment to advance the research in your area of expertise and expand your knowledge and skills in executive leadership. The faculty, staff, and I extend our warmest congratulations to all of you. But before we get too far in the ceremony, it is also important that we thank and acknowledge individuals that are here in person and virtually that helped support you along the way. As a graduate of the EDD program, I know how much I relied on my family and friends to encourage me and support me to earn my degree. So thank you for the encouragement you all offered to these graduates, and in many cases, the sacrifices you had to make so that they could attend class every other weekend and spend time somewhere in the house or the library or a Starbucks working on their dissertation or homework. So I'd like to just give a round of applause to all of those who supported you along the way. And to the staff, Betsy and Michael Flood, I know you're out there. Thank you. And I personally want to thank the staff and faculty for their unwavering support and commitment, because it takes a village to get folks here. And we have a pretty amazing village here at the extension site at Onondaga Community College. So I'm very grateful to all of you. So I believe the best welcome, don't let me forget, I want to say special thanks to some other folks here that are making this event so nice. And Tim Wilson, thank you for helping us with the video. Bob Burgess, I know you're back there for assisting us with the AV and getting all of this set up for us. And Chuck Wainwright for your support in capturing this moment on film. So my thought about these remarks is I wanted to remind us why we're here and also leave us with a feeling of inspired, encouraged, and also challenged. So to help me do that, I'm going to tell a little story, and it's a parable that you might have heard before. It's used in the business literature. And it's about a hermit living in the woods who needed to cut enough firewood every summer for the long winters. He needed that firewood to heat his home for the snowy winters like we have in upstate New York. So one year, winter came really early for the community, and neighbors warned this hermit, you've got to start getting your firewood in order. The storm is coming fast. So the hermit rushed out to his woodpile. But when he picked up his saw, he found that it had grown rusty and dull since he last used it. He knew he needed to sharpen the saw, but he was so worried and too focused about the storm that was approaching that he just started to cut the firewood instead. But as he worked, he noticed the saw was getting increasingly dull, forcing him to work harder and harder to make progress. But yet he didn't stop to sharpen the saw. And soon the snow began to fall all around him, making it impossible for him to cut anymore. So the hermit had to stop, completely exhausted, next to a sizable pile of wood that was not cut, leaving him unprepared for the storm. Now, our hermit from the woods, he was one of the brightest of hermits in the village, but he just could not stop and sharpen his saw. He became trapped in his own routine, too distracted by the approaching storm. Now, according to Robert E. Quinn, the hermit in the woods got caught up in what's called the logic of task pursuit. And so, as it does in this story, the logic of task pursuit is what often prevents us and organizations from changing and growing and moving outside of our comfort zone. And instead, it encourages us to keep a narrow focus on life. So when I think about this parable, I think about how much time you all spent in the program avoiding the logic of task pursuit. The one constant I hear from alumni and from myself is that this program is transformational. It changed my life. So to have a program described like that, it means people are transforming and stepping outside of their comfort zone. So Robert Quinn also states that when we are pursuing a task, we naturally follow our existing routines, our own habits, and that these are the maps to our past successes. The problem is that when we experience growth and success, like the EDD program, we change, and so does the world. So a map or an approach to leadership challenge that worked in the past might not work as well in this new space. I can imagine each of you have grown and developed in different ways based on your own unique journey. You now have new maps and frameworks, and hopefully you've been using them in the past few years. And you've become an expert in your dissertation topic. Therefore, I urge you to use those new approaches in the next challenge or the next fast approaching storm and continue to be a life learner so that you don't get caught up in the logic of task pursuit. So with that in mind, I issue a challenge to all of us. We all have long to-do lists. We all face fast approaching storms as leaders. Don't become the hermit in the woods, who was also smart and wise, but found himself trapped in his own story without the proper tool in working order. We need your leadership more than ever in this world. Your knowledge, your critical thinking skills, your research, and your dedication and your compassion for social justice, not only in your organization, but also in our communities. We need you to avoid the logic of task pursuit by staying curious, facing uncomfortable moments where you may have to reassess, rethink, or reframe Bowman and Deal. I think you all had that book in 704. And most of all, I challenge you to continue to be the lifelong leader and learner as you move forward. So thank you for coming. Welcome. And I look forward to talking with you after the ceremony. Thank you.
So I want to take the next 2.5 hours to review every course that you took and the content in those courses, and there'll be a quiz at the end. Eli, there'll be a quiz at the end. I'm Mike Robinson, and I'm also a graduate of the program, and I am the site director for the site here in Syracuse. I want to repeat what Dr. Cleverly said, and I want to thank Betsy for making all the arrangements for today. This was not an easy task given the pandemic, and she advocated for us consistently, and I appreciate that as the faculty appreciates that, Betsy. Michael, we also thank you for everything that you have done. Let me recognize the faculty and thank them for their work. First of all, Dr. Teresa Poulos, who is a graduate of our program. I'd like to thank her for her relentless emphasis on scholarship and methodology, and at the same time demonstrating leadership, executive leadership, that she has had the type of experiences to be able to share that with you. So Teresa, Dr. Kapoulos, thank you. I want to thank Dr. Quigley, who has to be the kindest person in the whole world. And when you got angry or frustrated with any of us, we know that you went to Mother Quigley and got some encouraging words. But she is also a graduate of our program, and I want to thank her for her leadership in the program. Dr. Evans, I want to thank you for your attention to detail, always pointing out to me what I missed, and I appreciate that. Also, your focus on rigor and standards were appreciated in the program. We miss you, but we're certainly glad you're with us today. You know, every once in a while, we have a couple students who are in that last lap, and they kind of reach out and say, Dr. Robinson, I need somebody to really push me through this next lap, someone who will be right beside me, who won't accept the word no. And those of us who are full-time faculty at that point are usually starting a new cohort, so we're focusing in on a new cohort. So whenever I have somebody like that, I always tell them, I have just the chair for you. Dr. Smith, who's a graduate of our program, has never had an assignment that she did not complete. So for those of you who needed that person in the last lap, Dr. Smith is there, and we appreciate you, Dr. Smith. I have just a couple comments to make. First of all, we've done a little research, conducted our own research. It has not been defended yet, but I will share this research with you. The average student in the EDD program spends 550 hours in class. The average student spends 1,050 hours preparing for those classes. The average student in our program writes 700 pages during this program, and they have rewritten them 2,100 times. On the average, they've cursed their committee chair 63 times. And they have asked their instructor 23 times, is that instructor for real? Do they understand that I am working a real job and also in school? Each of you have a story. You have a story before the program, you have a story within the program, and you have a story after the program. Each of you have a take on the world. You have a take on what we're experiencing. You have also respected the take of others on the world and what happens in the world. Consistently through this program, you have respected the views of others. You have had courageous conversations. And while you have learned so much from each other, you are smart enough to know that there's much more to learn and much more to do. I want to make a couple observations as a result of the pandemic, because you finished your work before we went into the pandemic. A couple observations. First of all, it appears to me that we have violated what we spent years understanding and implementing. And that was and is the value of the point of service delivery. It will take us some years to reestablish how important it is to make decisions and to provide perspectives and support at the point of service delivery. We have, during the pandemic, centralized power, often where there has been little experience in executive leadership. Rather, management and administration was the call for the day. And now that we're entering the last phases of the pandemic, it will be important for us to distribute that power once again and to let those of us, and certainly you, to exercise what you have worked hard to understand and do in the area of executive leadership. I think you'll understand this. We have, for the last 18 months, lived primarily in the structural framework. We have not spent as much time in the human resources frame, certainly not in the symbolic frame. And the political frame has been characterized by destruction, by falsehoods, and by neutralizing what is good. As you go forward, reestablish in the political frame that it is a place to network, to compromise, and to understand that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Your leadership should be about changing behavior, not just managing or administrating, but changing behavior so that those around you can reach a goal, so that they can realize the vision of your organization, so that you will advocate that they execute the mission of your organization. A couple last words. Be kind. Be kind to everyone. It is something that as we reconvene, we are going to have to demonstrate daily, hourly, and every minute of the day. So be kind. Make a difference every day. Remove barriers from those who are unrepresented or underrepresented. Go beyond your own perspective. Question your beliefs so that you can be sure that the values you demonstrate every day are what people respect and what people need. Each of you made a promise to each other, to yourself, to earn this doctorate. Today, you have kept your promise to yourself, and you have earned the doctorate. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. So now we are pleased to present our graduates. Each candidate will be hooded by the dissertation chair or the advisor. I will be reading the title of the dissertation and what the candidate is currently doing. So graduates, when I say your name, please come forward. Come up here. There's a little nice blue X where you will stand and you will be hooded. The following candidates will be hooded by Dr. Michael Robinson. Dr. Shannon Babby. Dr. Babby's dissertation title was called Higher Education Leadership Perspectives, Autism Education Certification, and Teacher Shortages in Upstate New York. Dr. Babby was just appointed the superintendent of Morris Central Schools. Congratulations. Dr. David Brown. Dr. Brown's dissertation title is called Male Participation in Secondary Choral Music. Dr. Brown is the superintendent of schools for the DeRuyter Central School District and president of the New York State School Music Association. Dr. Andrew Dowd. Dr. Dowd's dissertation title is A Case Study on the Efficacy of STEM Pedagogy in Central New York State, Examining STEM Engagement Gaps Affecting Outcomes for High School Seniors and Post-2007 Educational Leadership Interventions to Reinforce STEM Persistence with Implications of STEM Theoretic Frameworks on Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning. I might need a doctorate, additional doctorate, to understand what that means. Dr. Dowd is the president and CEO of Andro Computational Solutions, LLC, a for-profit scientific research and development firm in Rome, New York. He is also the chairman and executive director of the nonprofit Project Fibonacci Foundation Incorporated, devoted to STEM plus arts leadership education for workforce development. Congratulations. Dr. Kim Kazina Evanoski. Dr. Evanoski's dissertation title is called Professional Perceptions of Microaggressions and Verbal Abuse Towards Aging Women. Dr. Kazina Evanoski, is the CEO and owner of an innovative care management company covering 24 counties in New York State. She had 2 articles published recently in a peer-reviewed journal. Congratulations. You all are so good at encouraging the heart right now, everyone. So, Dr. Rachel Hendricks. Dr. Hendricks' dissertation title is called Examining Dimensions of the Organizational Culture at Colleges of Veterinary Medicine in the United States. Dr. Hendricks is a hospital administrator at Cayuga Veterinary Services. She has spoken at national and international veterinary conferences and is consulting for private veterinary practices in central New York. Congratulations. Dr. Aisha Huntley, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Woohoo! Dr. Huntley's dissertation title is called Teacher and Student Demographics, a quantitative study of their relationship to urban student academic performance. Yeah. Dr. Huntley is a special education teacher, deeply engaged in coursework to receive a certificate in advanced study for school building and district leadership. Dr. Chal Awan Majak. Dr. Majak's dissertation title is called Civic Political Engagement of Sub-Saharan African Naturalized Immigrants. Dr. Majak is a city councilor for the city of Syracuse, New York, and a director of workforce development for a not-for-profit organization. Congratulations. Dr. Rhoda Overstreet Wilson. Dr. Overstreet Wilson's dissertation title is Women in Leadership, a proposal to examine the trends and expectations of senior executive level women in the workforce. Dr. Overstreet Wilson is the executive director of the Westminster Manor Adult Home. The following candidates will be hooded by Dr. Teresa Poulos. Dr. Nancy Dawu. Dr. Dawu's dissertation title is called Organizational Climate and Physician Office Staff, a grounded theory study of patient perspectives of staff stress and the influence on personal health behaviors. Dr. Dawu is the Chief Ambulatory Officer at Upstate Medical University. Her focus is to ensure the provision of high-quality, seamless healthcare in a patient-friendly environment. She is currently leading the planning and operational oversight of a new 5-story, 200,000 square foot facility scheduled to open in March 2023, which will expand primary care and behavioral health services for the underserved population in Syracuse. Congratulations. Dr. Jessica Harris. Dr. Harris's dissertation title is Knowledge, Behavior, and Attitudes of College Students Regarding HIV/AIDS. Dr. Harris is an assistant professor in the Department of Health Promotion and Wellness at SUNY Oswego. Dr. Harris also is a national reader for the Association of College and University Educators. She is the first author of a recently published textbook titled Health Promotion and Wellness, and presented her doctoral dissertation at the Hawaii International Conference on Education in 2020. Dr. Harris won the President's Award for Excellence in Academic Advising in the fall 2020 at SUNY Oswego, and was nominated for the President's Award for Teaching Excellence at SUNY Oswego in spring 2021. Wow. Dr. Dominic Lisi. Dr. Lisi's dissertation title is Leading at the Speed of Learning, Superintendent Leadership of P12 Technology During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Dr. Lisi is the Chief of Operations, for the Fulton City School District. He is also a leadership and education consultant for PLC Associates and is the owner of Eagles Corps International, LLC. Congratulations. The following graduate was not able to be here in person, but we're still going to read off her name, because maybe she's out there virtually. Dr. Mary Melissa Green. Yeah. Dr. Green's dissertation title is Technology, Trust, and the Flow of Quality Information, a grounded theory study of decision-making among K-12 education leaders in New York State. Dr. Green works with state education agencies across the nation to improve teaching and learning through the effective use of educational technology. So wherever you are, congratulations, Dr. Green. The following candidate will be hooded by Dr. Linda Evans. Dr. Carol Charles. Dr. Charles's dissertation title is Creative Placemaking as a Mechanism for Community Revitalization, a case study of the SALT district in the near west side of Syracuse, New York. Dr. Charles is teaching business education at Nottingham High School and is the founder and executive director of the Dance Theater of Syracuse. The following candidates will be hooded by Dr. Cynthia Smith. Dr. Vanilla Hardin. Dr. Hardin's dissertation title is Recommendations and Strategies for Addressing Policing Disparities from an Asset Perspective. Dr. Hardin is the vice chair of the Community Police Review Board, working in collaboration with the Common Council to provide recommendations for Executive Order 203. She has participated in panel discussions on diversity, equity, and inclusion, racial bias, and women in leadership. She is also peer-reviewing journal articles for ALCU and working on publishing an article expanding on the findings from her dissertation. Congratulations. We have one more. Dr. Eliza Hernandez. Dr. Hernandez's dissertation title is The Identification and the Influence of Urban School Leaders' Personal Beliefs, Attitudes, and Behaviors on Leading Urban Social Justice Schools. Dr. Hernandez is the principal of a bilingual elementary school in Syracuse, New York. So I just want to say the closing remarks are going to be.
I'm going to introduce the student speaker.
Oh, sorry, I was getting ahead of myself. Thank you. That's why you're in charge.
Sometimes one of the most difficult tasks I have is to choose the student or the candidate or the graduate who represents the entire cohort as the speaker at the hooding. Shakespeare said, that the apparel oft makes the man. So I'm talking about Joe. Because if anybody had the outstanding apparel and represented true grit and respect for the program, it was Joel. So I chose him and asked him if he would speak today. I want to tell a little story, a really short story. When I recruited Joel, he came to my office. And I asked him, why do you want to get a doctorate? He said, I made a promise to my father that I would obtain the highest academic degree in the United States. So he told me that he had not attended his undergraduate graduation and that he had not attended his master's graduation, that his commitment to his father was that he would earn the highest degree and that he would not participate in any commencement or graduation ceremony until he had fulfilled that commitment to his father. So how could I not choose him as the student speaker? Dr. Machop?
I hope I don't have to lean too much on this microphone. Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Thank you so much. First of all, before I get going, I want to really recognize the chick of my dream. She's sitting right there. A woman that has stood with me for a very long time, 12 years to be exact. We have 5 children, and we have made it work. And this process, I couldn't have done it without her. And I'm saying that because that same thing I'm telling all of you is the same thing you would say to all your significant others. Because this journey was not easy, and we are here. So congratulations to all of you and to me as well. This doctoral process has truly been a challenging journey for all 16 of us. Certainly the degree of hardship had varied for each of us, but ultimately all 16 of us have graduated. I want to extend a huge appreciation to St. John Fisher family, previously under the leadership of Dr. Wiskonowski. I hope I said that right. And currently under the leadership of Dr. Cleverly Thompson. So thank you. A special thank you to the Executive Leadership Programs faculty for helping us trust the process and helping us learn the values of social justice. To Dr. Robinson, Dr. Poulos, Dr. Van Linden, Dr. Wagner, Dr. Townsend, Dr. Teese, Dr. Blaine, Dr. James Evans, Dr. Linda Evans, Dr. Berman, Dr. Quigley, Dr. Lyman. All those people that you just heard are people that made it possible for us to be here today. So thank you so much for all you have done for us. Thank you to our committee chairs and committee members for helping us see this day as well. Thank you to Betsy for helping us keep it together. and making sure those commas that we needed were there. Thank you to Michael Flood for making sure we had access to all that we need. And we did need Michael, didn't we? We did. I want to also give a special thanks to a gentleman named Terry Cook. Terry Cook is the janitor in the building that we were taking classes in. Terry Cook, it didn't matter what hours of the night, because we worked late. I did. I went to that building and I worked late. And he saw me and he opened that door for me, even beyond 9 o'clock at night. And he kept that building clean, didn't he? We appreciate that. So, Terry, thank you. And to our families and friends who put up with us, this is too loud, I'm sorry. And to our families and friends who put up with us through the 28-month-plus process of the program and continue to do so. We thank you so much. Thank you very much. And thanks to Jack Daniel, Chicken Wings, and their countless friends who we had to rely on to get through DEXL 703, 707, and 710. And I just know that Dr. Poulos is never satisfied. To my cohort 5, brothers and sisters, we are the baddest, the coolest, and simply the best. No offense. We came as strangers, and we are graduating this program as friends and family. Joel Majuk, which is me, Eli Hernandez, Cindy, Nancy, Dom, Carol, Andy, Jessica, Aisha, Shannon, Vanilla, Kim, Missy, Rhoda, David, and Rachel. I thank you so much for making this journey pleasant for me and a great learning journey. Thank you. In this process, I have learned that leadership is a complex phenomenon. And this is inherent in its nature as leaders model it and followers enlist. Leadership complexity is even more apparent and complicated in the political world where I come from. As a political leader, I have learned in this 3-year process that it is important for a leader to be loyal to the people they serve. They work hard to make sure that they have the commitment to the cause and the process. Next, it is important for a leader to be empathetic to their people because they were once followers, as well as human, and they understand their people's struggle. Their job is to facilitate the process, and their people got problems. Therefore, it is important that people feel you got their back. Next, it is important for a leader to be audacious toward justice, fairness, equity in their decisions and action. It is important that a leader actions show they are ready to go through fire to protect the mission, cause, and the people they care for. It is important they are audacious by showing that they are not afraid to defend the rights, dignity, and the balance necessary for coexistence and prosperity in the world. Next, it is important for a leader to be disciplined to show up every day, ready to defend the process that give equal and equitable playing field to the marginalized and the oppressed. Next, it's important for a leader to empower. This is to engage with the people that need uplifting and encouragement, something our committee members and chairs have done for us. Next, it is important for a leader to be reliable because people have needs to be addressed. And somebody need a leader to lean on. Reliable leaders can be trusted. My 6-year-old son, Majuk, put it very well. And this was after watching one of his favorite shows, Power Rangers. He said that a leader is a person that can be trusted. Trust is a byproduct of reliability. Reliable leaders, they work hard and they put the need of their people before them. Reliable leaders have to first be aware of relationship with their people. And then based on the model behaviors, decide whether to rely on us as leaders or to even trust us, which is the second step. Next, leaders must have soul and spirit in service delivery. In other words, it is important that a soul and a spirit of a leader shine in their thoughts, decision, behavior, and actions. Next, leaders wear many hats. Leaders go above and beyond to make sure that people are taken care of in so many ways. Next, leaders are investors. Because they're interested in people, people have interest in them as well. A leader is intentional in their investment because their paycheck, their best paycheck, is yet to be cashed. Leaders invest in the potential of the people they serve. Last but not least, leaders persevere because their vision is so powerful and goes far beyond the ability of naked eyes, mind, and imagination. They prophesize and speak power into people's future and potential. That was my father 30 years ago. He told me that I was going to be somebody one day. And for that, I must keep swimming no matter wherever the current takes me. He's so resilient in his little boy, and I have kept that prophecy close to my heart for 30 years. And that prophecy is what has happened that prophecy is what has helped me afloat in the mean and cold days of my prior life as a lost boy. That prophecy is what helped me out of Sudanese government concentration camps. During the Sudanese Civil War and its catastrophes, that prophecy is what helped me to persevere and survive hunger, starvation, famine, diseases, machine guns and bombs pouring on us like rain. That prophecy is what helped me survive 7 years of refugee camps. That prophecy that my father spoke of brought me to the United States 19 years ago. That prophecy 30 years ago my father spoke of, and he spoke of this day that I stand before you 30 years ago. The power of vision in a leader that sees beyond decades. And that's exactly what my father did. 3 decades later, his vision came to life. My father's prophecy is what helped me out of foster care system. in the streets of America where many of my brothers and sisters in the foster care system struggle to make it. I did not know that same prophecy would help me stand in front of you as people that are the most powerful people on earth, the United States of America. That prophecy made it possible for me today to stand in front of you. As a revolutionary leader in South Sudanese Army, my father planted a seed, and he watered it, protected, and prophesied over it. What makes this doctoral journey so special is that it was personal for all of us, and we did it. It took a little longer for others to see this day, but we are all here. As you go into the world as a leader to care for the world, remember to be loyal to your people and the cause. Remember to be empathetic to people regardless of their creed, sexual orientation, gender, race, and any other identities. Remember to be audacious in protecting the balance of life. Remember to be disciplined, to always show up for your call and purpose, no matter the circumstances. Remember to empower others so they can realize their best self. Remember to be a reliable person so that others can trust you with their lives. Remember to bring soul and spirit that shines so others can see and feel your goodness, discipline, and knowledge. Remember to invest in people so they know somebody got their back and were supported. Remember to persevere in your vision and prophecy so that 30 years from now, you can catch your best paycheck. And for that, I say, may God help you in your leadership and to always be authentic to your true self. Thank you.
This is exactly the position no speaker wants to be in, following a speech like that. But I do want to say a very special thank you. It is my honor on behalf of the faculty to just say our farewell to you as our students no longer, but as our graduates now and forevermore. With great pride and great deep affection, we want to wish you the very, very best. You've all been an amazing part of our story. And I'm so pleased that you will all now be a part of each other's story. 16 of you, 100% graduation, makes us very, very proud. So we'd like to celebrate that. We'd also like to capture this moment in a photograph, which will happen out on the quad. And I think Mr. Flood is going to lead us that way. So I believe that is for graduates, but everyone, of course, is welcome to come on out and take advantage of the photo op. Please just savor this moment together. The journey here to this hooding was almost as long and arduous as the journey to the degree, but you made it through both hurdles. So celebrate, enjoy, and just be grateful, for this is the day.
And graduates, you can move your tassels to the right. See, we had completely forgot about that, but Dr. Evans always points out what I forget. So we wanted to make sure, thank you, Dr. Evans, for reminding us to move the tassels.
And thank you, well, once again, honored guests and family and friends for your support and for attending this event today. So, Mr. Flood, I think we're ready to go, and if people want to follow him out that door.